Right, so
Hello.
hello guys. You all good?
Very well, thank you. How are you both?
Good.
All good, all good, all good. So we've got a few people joining in the chat. We'll let these guys filter through, then I'll introduce everybody. So I'm just going to go through. If my camera looks wobbly, it's because I am on an arm here and I am just waving at people as they join the chat.
You've got a tendency to keep smashing it about as well during the live. So.
I do, because I'm going to have to try and look around it to assemble the model. I'm going to be constantly headbutting it and stuff like that. So, you know, the Luddite that I am when it comes to technology. So, you know. So I've had a few guys join. So for me, I am head school of Iron School Gaming. We are a network of content creators. So if you think of it as like an umbrella, you've also got Palette of War. Palette of War is one of our schools, which is the network part of the network. And we have Ben from Cerberus Studios with us tonight, going to answer some questions that Scott has got up for him. I was a bit worried when Scott entitled it the interrogation room, so I don't know what you're in for, Ben, but we'll see. So yeah, if I keep waving to people as they enter the chat, and just, you know, guys, just have a quick chat between yourselves, and then when you're ready, I'll let you start asking questions, and just, you know, don't make it too quick fire, Scott. You know.
No, we'll. So it's not even half past yet, so we'll let the room filter.
That's what I say. We'll let the room filter through. So if I ask then, Scott, what have you been up to this week?
This week, yeah. I've been moving all the goodies from Expo, playing with stuff that I got from Expo, and recovering from Expo because it took me a week to get over it.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. So yeah, I was very, very, well, just excited over the weekend. I didn't realise how much it had taken out of me. I was like, it took me ages to recover. But yeah, it was great, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's
wonderful experience. It's
still sinking in the amount of networking that was successful for us over that weekend as well.
Yeah, the gravity of it's kind of settling in for sure. So for those that don't know, we went to the UK Games Expo. It is the third biggest in the world, I think, Games Expo type thing. Definitely in Europe. And it was just immense. We demoed all weekend for Mantic Games, but we also managed to break off and speak to people like Ben, who we have in the chat today, about their Kickstarters and stuff, and see some truly inspirational and beautiful miniatures. So Scott's lined up a chance for us to chat to these guys from Cerberus Studios about their awesome Kickstarter and the products that they already have out and stuff, so that'll be great.
Well, Spencer's by Spence.
Yeah, Spencer's in.
Hello, everybody.
Another legend.
So yeah, so yeah, for about for the past week, I've kind of shied away a little bit from doing hobby as such. I've been helping the partner do her undead for Kings of War. So, and when I say helping, I literally pointed at the glue and pointed at clippers, and she just went away with it like crazy. So it was all good. She didn't need much direction at all. It happened really quickly. Cool Red has said evening to us, guys.
Evening. Been talking to her all day. He's excited for the interview with Ben as well.
Yes, yeah.
I'm intrigued on the questions, so hopefully I answer correctly.
I tried to keep more hobby related. So
did you send Ben the electrocution device so that if he answers them incorrectly, he gets a slight buzz? Is that what it is?
No, that was a surprise.
That was a surprise.
You're not wearing a Dark Angel's cowl or something like that for this interrogation.
It's too warm.
It's too warm for the cowl.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, I don't think a Dark Angel will ever say that. Yeah. Just saying.
Obviously not. Yeah. You're not one of the brothers.
No.
Right. Yeah. Next time on, I'll have the red veil up, and I'll have to arrange for the next person to be interviewed to have light shined in his face.
Yes. Bright lights. I told you that's interview 2. You know, we'll line it up. Just don't dodge it too much. So, right, there's a couple more guys joining in. We've got around 15 in the chat. at the moment.
Yeah.
So as a lot of guys have just joined us since we introduced ourselves initially, I'm 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗞𝗦 from Iron School Gaming. The coughing in the background is 𝗟𝗚𝗡𝗞𝗦. You have Scott from 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗞𝗦 and Ben from 𝗟𝗏𝗡 Studios. So I'm going to hand over to Scott, who's going to go through some questions, not too quick fire. We're not putting you on the spot. We want long answers. It's all good. But yeah, if I hand over to Scott, Scott will ask his first question, if he's ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. I just want to say it's a great pleasure to have you in the interrogation room, the first victim, as you will. So how have you been since the expo?
Yeah, good, thank you. It's been a bit non-stop since, to be honest. Pulling some late nights, just working on the Kickstarter and some behind the scenes with the game system and the new miniatures that are coming out. So it's all good.
Yeah, so I see you released a picture of the my favourite miniatures, the vampire stroke old.
Yep. The 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗏 are being teased as we speak.
Yeah, they're the ones that I want the most out of your collection so far.
So for me, it's the werewolves. For me, it's the werewolves. I love the transitioning werewolves. I think they're absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning.
So this is what's great. You're already choosing camps, which is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as soon as I saw them on, it was Saturday, the first time I got round to you, I think. And as soon as I saw them 3 models in the cabinet and them super dynamic poses, I was like, they're the ones I need.
Yeah, in fact, I said to Ben, I was like, those transitioning werewolves, I need them in my life. That's definitely something I need. So
yeah, we need to get that Kickstarter up to the stretch goals now.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
that would be wonderful. I would love to share everything with you. So yeah, we just need to keep pumping this up a bit now.
Yeah, that's cool. So going back to
we'll keep sharing them. I was going to say, we'll keep sharing in our stories and stuff, Ben. So if you've got anything that you want us to talk about as well while we're on this live, do feel free to, plug anything, ask us questions, whatever. That'll be cool. But I'll hand back over to Scott.
So how was the Games Expo for you?
Yeah, fantastic. It's always a great show. I always look forward to the expo as it comes around every year. It just comes around faster and faster, I find, these days. But yeah, every day was great. Great seeing old friends and meeting new people as well. And obviously this year was a big deal for me because I was launching my first ever game. And I got really nice reception from you all, so thank you so much. It was a really good few days.
Yeah, well, it's worth it because I said the sculpts and the models alone are worth the credit. Just on the model alone. I said we're a bit gutted we didn't get enough time to have a demonstration of the game.
I know.
But we're all relatively local. Maybe we can sort something, Ben. I don't know if what your availability is, but we're all. So I'm in King's Standing near Sutton Coldfield,
not a million miles away.
And the other guys were in Burton-on-Trent, so not a million miles away from you. So.
Well, it is a plan for me to release on my YouTube channel an almost a how to play video.
Yeah.
And then I'm very keen to be organising several games with various clubs and people to just get you into it, really, because you don't start to really jump into a world until you start playing the game.
No. Exactly.
So over the next few weeks and months, I'm definitely up for anything like that because I really want you to jump into my world.
Yeah. I said where we game out of our local gaming centre, we use Books and Banter, and there's plenty of space, and I think sure Melissa will be more than willing and happy to have you over to run demos of your game, so that way we get to play and you get another audience. Quite a few over there are quite a lot into D&D, so it might appeal to them as well, with it being a small
perfect
game.
That'd be wonderful. We'll get something organised.
Yeah, because I think on a Thursday night, I think normally they've got probably about 5 or 6 D&D tables running at the minute whilst we're doing our war gaming. So they've got a good fan base over there. So
when my RPG comes out with 𝗟𝗏𝗆𝗏, then we've got another avenue there as well. So that's good.
That's exactly right, matey. Well, I first encountered Cerberus at the Hammerhead show a few years ago, and I was instantly drawn to the demons. So I thought, upon seeing the Kickstarter launch, I was expecting to be very much in the camp of the demons. However, it is werewolves for me, and that was literally based on just seeing the models that I saw on show. So if you guys haven't checked out the Kickstarter, we will throw some stuff after the live up, links and stuff in our stories, so you can check that out as well, guys. Because honestly, it's going to be brilliant. And 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏 says, yes, please, to you guys producing some gameplay content. So he's excited to see how that works out as well.
We'll get it all.
I think the main thing is that, like you say, Ben, you don't really feel it until you're in it and immersed in it and you're playing the game and stuff. So I think everyone will be blown away, just by how the game plays, and they'll totally wrapped up in that world that you've created so well. So
thank you.
Anyway, I keep interrupting the questions, but there you go. That's just me. So over to Scott again.
So the first one I've got is, what triggered the idea for Cerberus Studios, like your Mortal Reckoning and Celestial Affinity? What triggered?
Well, I mean, I've said it many times when people have asked me. I've been gaming since I was about 10 years old. I've been doing tabletop games, role-play games, and I love anything fantasy or sci-fi. And then as an adult, I say that very loosely.
As do we all.
I said to my wife one day, who insists I only play poker, not fantasy games, wouldn't it be great to make money from doing this? She said, well, why don't you? And it started it from there, really. My loves of myths and legends, fantasy stories, history, just spurred my imagination from there. And I started with Mortal's Reckoning. And then I also leant towards loving the medieval tales, medieval history, your Draculas and things like that. And I created Celestial Affinity on the second run.
So
that's fantastic, Nosy.
Yeah. So just a side question. So how's Celestial Affinity going at the minute? I know it's reached its first goal on Kickstarter.
Yes, so the main goal funded in 24 hours, which I'm utterly thankful for, and I thank you all so much for that support. We've also now got to a stage where we've released the werewolves in their warrior states and in their transition state, and we've released the store warriors as well, who are the werewolves. So it's getting a lot of traction now. I'm getting a lot of wonderful responses and comments. So it's now a case of wanting to build it even more, so I can start to show you that the barrack, which are the vampires, and of course we've then got the demon mages to come out. We've got other greater demons, and I'm already planning now ahead for the second scenario box and bigger things from there as well.
So they're all themed around scenario boxes then, because I know I've seen the Kickstarter. It's all in one, your pledges and stuff.
Yeah.
So is the plan to release follow-up scenarios and stuff like that, or just additional stuff for this?
Yeah, after the initial release of the Decimation of Bearman, the whole point of me doing it like that was I love narrative-based game systems, narrative stories. So because I've written such a large world, I wanted to shrink it all down for you and put it in a focal point, a start point, which is Bearmount. But from there, we'll lead into the main story, where we have the siege of the capital city Odax, where Emperor Aranoth has effectively wiped the land clean, and that's the last bastion for the races to be holed up and survive, and who knows, may win or not. But in between that end goal story, there may be another couple of other scenarios leading up to the main city of Odax.
Oh, awesome.
But then I've also written a scenario where the city's built up with different walls, and I'd like to introduce you to all the main characters that come in at each wall and each segment, and as each one falls in the story, you get to play that as well until you get to the end goal, when there's a lot of big surprises right at the end.
Oh, that sounds brilliant. Yeah, that sounds brilliant. Already got me hooked.
Good.
Already got me hooked. That's what I'm saying.
Good.
So,
The model's got me hooked. That all you need to do, Chart, is wave nice shaped plastic in my face and I'm sold. So yeah. So going back a bit, so you had the idea with your wife. When did you actually start with the idea, and how long long have you been going?
Been going 4 years now, so it's been a build-up over 4 years. Started just a small run of 4 or 5 miniatures of Mortals Reckoning, just to introduce to my imagination and the figures, and a little bit of the lore. And then I've been building it steadily from there, building the Mortals Reckoning range first to expanding it to about 10 characters now, with more coming out. And then from there, so I started to work in the background of 𝗟𝗟𝗆𝗃, and how it's worked out is it's that's come to the fore before Mortals Reckoning. But with the Mortals Reckoning IP, so I'm currently working with 𝗬𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆 Games to do an RPG, and then I'm also personally writing a tabletop game for Mortals as well. So keep your eyes out for that. But the main focus now is 𝗟𝗟𝗆𝗃 and getting you into that medieval side of things as well.
Cool.
Oh, that's awesome, mate. I do like the idea of the premise of the game, and I also like the Mortal Reckoning stuff. In fact, they were the first things I bought from you, was Mortal Reckoning bits. But this particular, celestial affinity really captivates my my hobby juices, shall we say. They get them flowing, and I just can't wait to get involved, really. So.
Well, there's so many things in history that influence us, and in fantasy literature. I couldn't just pick one thing that I loved. So I took on the daunting task of creating 2 different worlds and writing them completely. You could live in both of my worlds now. I've written that much, but then I have to also realise that you guys know none of it, and I have to start to introduce you to it from the very beginning again. Yeah. So it's me having to go, right, okay, I'll draw a line there, take a few steps back, and start to share it with you now. Yeah. And we'll go from there.
No, that's really cool. So that's going to be the constant word, I think, that we use: cool and awesome and stunning. And because truly, guys out there, if you've not checked them out, the miniatures are stunning. The setting is awesome, and just everything about it just screams cool. So yeah, rule of cool. Jump on board. Yeah.
So one thing that I do like about the new Select Affinity is the model size. Is it 54mm, these ones?
Yeah, so I went for a 54mm for a few reasons. Most simply, it differentiates itself from other IP Mortals, which is 32mm scale. But being a skirmish game for 𝗟𝗟𝗆𝗃, it just lent itself so nicely. You only need about 3 a side in terms of characters to play an opening game, and at 54mm it's just lovely on the tabletop just to see those. It lends itself to painters and collectors as well. Yeah. And even if you are just a gamer and never get time or get around to painting the minis, they're detailed enough to just prime them, and they just still look great on the tabletop.
Yeah. So yeah, I've not said before, you've done a stunning job with the models all the way through, but especially in this new range that you've got, they do stand out from others quite a bit.
Thank you. I mean, I've been very lucky as well, where I work with a key selection of people that really help me bring these things to life. I have my own limitations, unfortunately, but I've been very lucky to meet certain people who have just really helped bring everything that's in my imagination to the fore, and we'll keep doing so, I hope. So there's a lot of things that are already penned out, bigger and greater things to share with you. So it's just down to me to share that world with, and for you guys to go, yeah, we want to jump in more and see more.
Well, we're on board. We'll share anything for you. So we're So we're both feet in now. So
yeah,
welcome to the 𝗟𝗟𝗆𝗃 family.
Yeah. So another.
Sorry, carry on,
Dave. Sorry.
No, so I was just going to say, we're very invested in this. It's, as you can tell, we've always said, like when we have people on, or if we do reviews and stuff, that I don't like the term that they use on here, like paid partnerships and stuff, because we're not paid. We're passionate about the things. So the stuff we share, so anything that we call our sponsors, anything that we share reviews for, they're selected because we're passionate about that product. It's not just because we've got given something for free, or that we've been paid hundreds of pounds to do a review. It is only ever going to be stuff that we're passionate about, and we're really passionate about your model ranges, really. So, hand on heart, they blow us away.
that's one of the major joys of working in this industry. We sit down behind the scenes, nobody sees us whittling away with stories or whatever things we create, and then when we finally release it, to have people turn around and just fall in love with it or share their comments, but it'll be negative or positive, you know. And with the law, you know, if you jump into a world that you've lovingly created and filled out, and for people to go, yeah, I love that. I want to be one of the werewolves. I want to be one of the vampires, or you know, I want to stand in the line with the humans and defend the empire, or just go for the evil and go full demon. You know, having all these different people who are interested in different aspects encourages me to create more, and also by listening tells me what you guys really like, so I can start to flesh out certain characters sooner rather than later. You know, I'm a one-man band, so when I start to create something in my mind, I love it because it's my creation. But when you start to get something out into the bigger wide world and then into the community, and also I'm really keen to build this community of Celestial. I want people like yourselves who are passionate to go, what's happening next? What's coming out next? Have you thought of this? I'm a big werewolf fan. Have we got any characters coming out? Things like that really spurs me on, and that's what I want to keep doing because I love doing.
Just very quickly before we move on to Scott's next question, Spence Painting has asked, what was it like working with Angel for the box art on Mortals, and do you have someone lined up for the box art for Celestial, if you want to reveal it, that is?
So it was wonderful work with Angel. He has an enviable talent, as I've said many times at many shows when people see his work. He's done several videos on my stuff, which was just wonderful to share that with a talent like that. And to have them on my personal collection as well is just wonderful. I've got a selection of people who I'm looking at who I'd like to work with Celestial. I can't say too much at the moment, but one thing I will say is that I'm always open to hearing from talented artists, whether you be painters, whether you be fantasy artists. I always want to work with new talent, and if it fits the particular project or it fits what I'm looking for, then yeah, please give me a shout. It's always a joy to work with people who are so talented, and it helps my creations come to life.
That's awesome to hear. That's awesome. So yeah, cool. I'll hand back over to Scott.
Yeah,
I'll keep interrupting every now and then, but I'll hand it back over to Scott. So.
No. I say my first encounter with yourself was at the expo last year, not the first one after lockdown. You had, I wish I'd brought it now because I've just brought a set, but you had your artist opus brushes in your special, and I got round to it at the wrong time because I'd run out of money, and I wish I'd have got that set now, because the case that it was in was it was amazing, the case.
Yeah, that was a limited edition set. So they were launched when Emperor Aronoff, my giant miniature, was launched.
Yeah.
It was the perfect scenario because of the brushes that we used in that set we used to paint him, and then the combination with Angel as well. It just is a perfect opportunity. And Artist Opus to create some beautiful brushes as well. So it was an opportunity I wanted to grab onto.
Yeah. Like I say, I've got myself a set now, but I wish I'd have got you this Celestial Affinity limited edition set.
Well, who knows, in the future there may be some more things coming out, so I'll let you know.
Cool, thank you. So, another question. When or what was the turning point when you realised that it was going to be successful?
I think even now it's premature for me to answer that. You know, I always keep pushing and striving. That's actually quite a hard question to answer because you measure success differently for different things.
Yeah. Okay. Rephrase it as in that's at the point where you thought you realised it's going to start to work and get people's attention.
I think when I first released my miniatures in my first ever show, I mean, my first ever show, ironically, was UK Games Expo. I jumped straight into the deep end. And when people started to see the miniatures and they looked at them and they said all the right and nice things, that's when I thought, okay, perhaps I've got something here. And it's then just hard graft and investment and seeing how far I can go with it. And, you know, my dreams for my company and my IPs are endless. You know, I want to take this all the way. It's just jumping into your imaginations and see if they gel with mine.
Yeah, I fully understand where you're coming from that, because before the UK Games Expo, me and Dave were just doing this hobby hangout. It was us two talking and occasionally getting friends on and just chatting. But after the expo, and going to name drop here, and spending time with Mini Wargaming Dave, which is an absolute legend, he's given me the confidence to set this interrogation room up and get people like yourselves on to do it. Just with a few words he said, it's pushed me to start doing this, which over a week ago I wouldn't have had the confidence or the enthusiasm to do. It was something I wanted to do, but no one actually pressed the button and kicked me and go do it.
Yeah, this is quite a daunting thing to do. You sit down and you create something, whether it be large or small, whatever it may be, and you release something to the world. You put yourself in a very vulnerable position because you think it's the best thing on earth. Yeah. But others may go, no, it's not quite our cup of tea, or whatever they may say. And that's, that's daunting. But I think it's exciting at the same time. I'm very, as you can probably tell, quite passionate about everything I do. And I hope that passion translates and crosses over to all of you, which obviously you're sharing that joy with it, which is wonderful. But to others and strangers who don't know my brand or are tentative to step into an unknown company, it's hopefully my passion will translate into that and give me more of the confidence to give you even more. I'm very happy to say that I'm quite happy to stand in front of people and say, this is my thing, this is my IP, this is my brand, and then chat with you. That's what this is about, community and talking, and it gives you the confidence when people say all the wonderful things.
So very, very quickly following on from that, obviously, I know you're passionate about the miniature wargaming sort of scene, but I also know that you do photography professionally. Yes. Do you take all of your miniature photographs?
I do.
Yourself? Yeah. So, do you have any tips for budding photographers and things? Any quick tips? Tip of the week, if you like.
Get yourself a good lens if you're using a camera, or if not, by all means use your mobile phone and some good lighting. Tripod and lighting are essential.
Absolutely, 100% agree on that. And don't be afraid to play around with
experiment
settings and stuff. Yeah.
Same with whether it be photographing minis, painting minis, or even converting minis. Don't be frightened to experiment. At the end of the day, most things are an easy fix. So that's the whole point of this.
Yeah, take 5-10 pictures of the same, of the same model, and choose the best. Play around with it. Play around with the different settings on you, because most mobile phones now have the ability to change, like the sensitivity to the light and so on and so forth. Play around with it. Go into pro mode. Play around with it.
Definitely. And you don't need to spend a lot on lighting as well. I mean, even if you use a standard desk lamp and then just play with shadows, the effects of that you can create are quite great.
Absolutely.
Filter lights and tracing paper. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get some fantastic effects.
No.
Just have a play. And then all of a sudden you find that you've got a new skill and you'll be doing it for other people.
Yeah, well, going what you seem to have to spend a lot of money. All the lighting I use for doing my stuff is halo lights from B&M, and I think not a single one of them cost me more than a tenner. So and they do the job. And
don't get me wrong, if you can afford to go down the pro avenue and you can invest in, high-end equipment, etc., you pay for what you get. But at the end of the day, you don't have to spend that to get some fantastic results.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. A question that's come in from Kirill Red. I hope I'm saying that right. Will we get to read novels and graphic novels from the Celestial Affinity universe, as they would love to learn about the different races and their named characters?
So, in a broad summary answer, yes. So I have written a novel for Celestial Affinity. It's going to be a proper tome to introduce you to the various initial characters and races in the wider world and the bigger story. I had wanted to release at the same time the Kickstarter, but unfortunately time ran away from me. But that will be coming out soon. So that will give you a deep dive into the world. But I'm also working on at the moment the Celestial Affinity website purely dedicated to that IP. And on that website, I will start to give you summaries and teases of different lore, different characters. We'll be doing all sorts of videos and so on and so forth on that over the next few months and carrying on from there. So yeah, 100%. I'd love to do more graphic novels. The comic I did for Mortal's Reckoning for my character Lazarus has gone down a storm, and that's an avenue I'd love to explore more as well.
Yeah, I have to admit, I did enjoy that. The graphic novel was really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, really, really cool.
Sorry,
Scott. There's me interrupting again.
The artist 𝗟𝗜𝗡 did a wonderful job with that. We spoke long into the night about the sort of look I wanted for that, because I wanted a particular tone for the comic with colours and the way it was drawn and depicting the violence in it as well. So yeah, I was very happy with that.
And so you should be. You know, it's, like I say, it was really, really good. I still have mine on my shelf. Pride of Place. So
I hope they'll have the rest of the characters in the coming years.
Yeah, Lady Kane, welcome to the chat. She says that love the models and so glad to have picked one up at the UK Games Expo.
Yeah, very excited to see how you're painting that one. So yeah, share away when you've done it.
No, she'll do a superb job. We've seen the stuff she was doing for Ravage Star the other day. That was so she'd do yours justice, I think. And
her Angron is looking particularly great. So yeah, very excited to see what happens with my miniature.
Yeah, so me too. So yeah, so just backstepping a bit, what were your original goals and dreams with this whole idea?
my goals and dreams are pretty big with it. Dream wise, I think, as with anybody who creates something, stepping in from your gameplay, miniatures, books, I'd love to see this as a series or a movie or a string of comics and etc. For both IPs. My imagination can run away with itself, and I have daydreamed many a time on who would play certain characters and who I'd like to do certain things. So yeah, the sky's the limit, and as far as I can push it, and as long as people keep finding it interesting, fun, and want to keep investing in it themselves, then yeah, let's see where it goes. Hopefully all the way.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I remember joining Games Workshop back in the early 2000s, and we got given a document that quite literally told us that their business model was based around TGD, total global domination. You know, that's what they wanted to do back in 2000, and well, you know, that you can't deny that they are definitely a leading force within the industry, and there's nothing stopping you with your creativity, Ben, and passion doing the same, because let's face it, Games Workshop started off with, you know, creativity and passion. You know, I'm not going to get into politics of where they've headed and stuff like that. I'm sure people in the chat would want to, but you know, that's how they started out, you know, and there's nothing stopping you taking what you've created and literally running away, you know, into the sunset with something that's just as fantastic. And like I say, TGD, that's what you need to remember, Ben. TGD.
100%. I am there for that.
Cool. Looking forward to it. So going back to your Kickstarter, how was you feeling when you first went to Kickstarter?
Kickstarter's always been a love-hate relationship for me. So I've had a success and I've had a failure on Kickstarter. So when I decided to go Kickstarter again for this project, it was with a lot of trepidation. But watching it grow and having the comments and the questions and getting funded in 24 hours, I literally can't describe the elation when that happened, and it's given me a new faith in it. Yeah, it's one of those useful tools where I can share so much with you to a wider audience so quickly, especially to those who don't know who I am or what my business is. So it's a fantastic tool that I'm now pretty much all behind and loving it.
Cool.
Lady Kane says, thank you so much. Looking forward to painting it this weekend.
Fantastic.
So you should get an update about that miniature soon.
Yeah, no pressure.
No pressure, no pressure, no pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, put anger on the side. My miniature's far better. Yeah, it's fine.
Well, that's it. But for you, Lady Kane, you need to make the effort, because I know you take pictures quite often with my brother, 𝗟𝗏𝗆𝗍𝗆. So you need to somehow sneak a picture of him with that miniature stood at Games Workshop. That's what you need to do. That's your challenge, if you choose to accept it, is go up to my brother Ed with that miniature and take a selfie. That's the challenge.
That sounds like a good challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a. Gosh, it's going to be all over Instagram. It's going to go crazy now, and it was just that one Celestial Affinity model invading the.
Actually, let's go full hog. Just put Emperor Aronoff on the tabletop.
Yeah.
Or stand him at the feet of the Space Marine or something. You know, you could do that. So yeah. Well, I think my brother would love being photobombed. So yeah.
Yeah.
She says mission accepted. So there we go. I look forward to seeing that update, Lady Kane. That'll be awesome.
So do I.
If nothing comes from this interrogation room, we're getting your models into Games Workshop.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I can just imagine Cerberus Studio shops all over the country. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
That might be a theme to go down the route with this interrogation room. Anybody that's in there that produces a model has then got to get someone to get to paint the model to have a photo taken at Games Workshop with it.
Yeah.
Watch the letters come in from head office for GW.
Cease and desist. Cease and desist. Well, I wanted on the Mantic stand. They previewed the Worms board game, so they had a 3-up of one of the Worms, and I just wanted it to be taken sort of in the hand of the Terminator that was at the expo. I thought that'd be awesome, but no one was brave enough to go over to it. So
the one I wanted Johnny to do with that was when they took the helmet off to turn it on, I wanted to go sit the worm where the helmet should have been.
Yes.
And take the photo.
Yes. That would have been cool.
Colossal Earthworm Jim.
Yes. Yes. Hello, Damien. Welcome to the chat. That's Scholar de Warpaint Studios from Egypt joining us tonight.
So, what are your future plans, goals with Cerberus Studios and Celestial Affinity?
So again, as we were just saying, and we've now said total world domination.
Yeah. Total global domination, that's it.
But to
let's set no less, Ben.
Yeah, to shrink it down just a little bit more. With Celestial, obviously keep building the story and the scenarios and the narrative for you guys. So I've written all the way to an end game for end storyline for it. So yeah. I want to work all the way through those storylines and build it from almost a skirmish game to the full tabletop game.
Yeah.
And that would be a dream. And the same with Mortals. I've got a few things I'm working on at the moment, which will introduce to more characters, allow those who've already collected that miniature range to actually use them as well. The way I like to operate my business is that I appreciated very quickly that there are different camps in this hobby. There are those who just like playing games. There are those who just like collecting and painting. And then there are those who like to do all of the above. So I've tried to offer something for everybody, which I know you can't please everybody. And it's a daunting task to do so, but hopefully I'm ticking a few boxes for the various groups. And that's what I want to keep doing with the company. So we'll be growing the character range, the miniature range, games, more books, more graphic novels. God, who knows if I get to the realms of real success, computer games, things like that. Yeah. Who knows? That there's dreams there. Just I need the support and love of all of you to do it.
Yeah, well, your net's wide enough and it's covering enough bases. I'm pretty sure it's going to keep accelerating the way it's going.
Fingers crossed. I mean, we've mentioned GW, and it's rightly mentioned. I've been, say, gaming since I was 10, so I think I started playing with the second or third edition of Warhammer, and through the next 30 years I've watched them grow and how they've adapted, and to look at them in the early days, how they did things, is a really good barometer to see how you can build a company to the successes it now enjoys now. So I do look back in the distant past of how they used to do things as a bit of research, really.
Excuse
Kane's happy to
me?
assist in the world domination anytime.
Yes. Total global domination all the time.
Yeah. And
That's
so
going to
thanks for
be on the banner now,
following.
isn't it? I'm going to put that on the banner at my exhibitions.
Yeah.
𝗟𝗏𝗡 Studios, total world domination.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Nico.
But like you're totally right. You can't ignore, how Games Workshop has grown and what they've done and how they've changed, not just themselves, but the face of gaming globally. You can't ignore that. They are a force to be reckoned with, but they are a force for inspiration. Whether that be doing what they do to make it work, or knowing what not to do because you've seen them try and it's not worked.
Their old
and obviously, I think
chaos books were just a real inspiration. I remember reading those when I was a teenager, and having them re-release them recently as well brought a lot of nostalgia back.
Yeah.
And the way they just set those out was just tapped into your imagination straight away. Even Sublime to the Ridiculous. Steve Jackson, even Ian Livingstone fighting fantasy novels. I'm sure many of us have got a collection of those that we played with when we were younger.
Yeah.
Everything like that has been a source of inspiration for me personally to set up my own company, because they all started off from an idea, and they've all just grown to what we all love and continue to play today. And a long way about of answering the question, but that's what I'd like for my business and my IP, for people to be talking about this at weekends, arranging nights to go around and play my game, or having YouTube channels and discussing the lore like they do about 40k. These are pipe dreams, but everything is achievable. It just requires a bit of luck and go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Spen's painting did mention a little while ago that he had to shoot.
Yeah.
And he said he'd speak to us soon. And Lady Kane says she is happy to assist in world domination anytime.
Yeah.
So the 𝗟𝗏𝗡 Studios army is slowly growing, and we're going to march for global domination.
So perfect. Thank you to Lady Kane as well. She's following me as well. So.
Yeah, thank you for the follow. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So just going to cover a bit about the game and everything now. I know there's a few questions that are floating around there that people have been pestering you with quite a bit. One of the top ones is, in the game, can the races fight one another?
Yes, they can. And before I go into any answers, please send me questions. Anything it may be about my businesses, my IP, things like that. I welcome these questions because, again, gets you into my lore a bit more rather than just reading something. Ask me questions, I'm happy to answer them, unless it's top secret, of course. But yeah, all the races in my game have been designed so they can fight against one another. With the initial release of Decimation, it is, as it shows on the artwork and the story, mainly humans against demons. But the wider world, I've written a legacy story as well, so all these races were at one point enemies. They're allied now for reasons because of demons, but they are actually enemies, so you can fight against each other against them. You can even do a civil war of human against human if you wanted to.
That's cool. So, again, with the game platform, how many players each side?
So it's a minimum of two play game. You can keep growing it from there. So for the starter box, all you need is a person who wants to run the humans and one who wants to run the demons. 3 character miniatures aside as a basic skirmish game. But I put a point system in as well. So if you want to grow and have much bigger armies, the system works where I've done a narrative play system. I've done an open scenario play system where I've set out generic scenarios for you to play against one another, but also I've done open play. So the open play literally means you can fight to the death, you can do your own scenarios, you can do your own history, whatever you want to allow you to enjoy some of the miniatures. So for example, I've already released Captain Commander Drago, who technically isn't in the Decimation storyline, but he's such a fantastic character that I wanted to get you to play with him straight away. And that will continue throughout the whole series, where I'll have other characters that may not be in that initial storyline, but in terms of gaming, you can use them.
Cool. So another one that keeps popping up is, how do the transitions work?
So transitions are the store people, as I've dubbed them, are actually the werewolves. So that's their human variant. In game, you can choose to transition between the two forms freely whenever you want. You might want to do that tactically. You might want to do that for a scenario-based purpose. So the transition models allow you to visually represent that particular miniature that character has chosen to transition. There are a few scenarios that I'm currently penning, which will be released when the game is released to you all, where the transitions will be part of an actual scenario. So we'll have another purpose as well as just the aesthetic and the visual.
Cool. I think you might have covered it earlier, but is there any plans for expansions?
Yes, 100%. 100%. So there'll be several split-offs. There'll also be, depending on the success of how this goes, the whole legacy storyline. As I said, I've written about 1,000 years worth of history in this world, so there'll be spin-offs into that side of things as well, introducing some pretty ancient characters who may still be alive as if they're vampires in the present day. So yeah, there's a lot of things that will link and grow from there.
So you just said 1,000. So 1,000 years of history that you've gone. So you've gone deep into.
Deep, yeah. I've created a timeline of major events over that time because when I created this, I knew I was dealing with pretty much immortal races.
Yeah.
Especially with the 𝗟𝗏. I felt it was important to give them a full-on backstory. And so obviously the other races are involved over those 1,000 years, but some characters live and die, some who are immortal persist. So it just gave more weight to certain characters when they're finally released. And if I can release lore as well at the same time, when these things come up, it'll give me more gravitas when you can finally use them.
Cool. And with the skirmish game that you've designed, will you be producing terrain to go with the 54mm models?
Yeah, that is a plan that I'd like to be implementing soon. I'm thinking of offering both card-based and resin-based scenery, depending on obviously your budget and your taste. But I appreciate 54mm scale isn't a scale that's used that widely. So yeah, that is a plan for me to start to introduce that to you. But in the meantime, obviously people can use their 32mm scale hills and so on and so forth to still play the game.
Cool. So we'll just do a bit about yourself, unless there's any other questions coming up or there's anything you want to ask us. So other than putting all your focus into this, do you actually wargame yourself? Do you play games?
I used to. Not as frequently as I'd like these days. I have an infrequent game of Lord of the Rings occasionally. I have a Blood Angel and a Space Wolf army. And I was a big old world Warhammer fan before they destroyed that world and upset everybody. So I used to be a Chaos Warrior army player with that one. So yeah, I've been a big player over the years, but I've literally just thrown myself into my own creations and playtesting and doing all my other personal bits and pieces with Celestial and Immortals. So that's been taking up all my time recently.
Yeah, I can imagine. Last question or last few questions. So have you got any events or anything coming up that people can go to? So
in terms of the exhibition road, I've completed all my exhibitions for this year. I only do 4 or 5 of the big ones. So at the moment, there's no exhibition plans left now till it starts again in March for me. But as I said earlier on when we were chatting, it's now a goal of mine to start setting up some gaming nights, gaming days, club days, where we can play Celestial, talk about all the bits and pieces as well, and yeah, do that throughout the year.
Yeah, I think there was what was that question that I think it just scrolled past on me, Dave? What was that question?
It's the Benjamin Paul Guard asked. Excited to see how the game plays. Would you be able to share where and when the points for each model will be available?
So as soon as, well, not as soon as, with the current pledges with the Kickstarter, you get a rulebook. In that rulebook, is a point system for several key characters in the races, all of them, werewolf, varrock, human, and demon. So those points are in there. So you can start to use that straight out of the box. With the game, the way I've designed it, you don't necessarily have to have the miniatures. You can just play with standees. So in the scenario box that comes out with the Kickstarter, those standees are only human and demon at this point. However, if you love my miniatures and want to collect those as well, with every single miniature you get their own unique character card, which will allow you to use those in game. Use in conjunction with my rule book, you can build as many points as you'd like, as long as you've got the character card to play the character with its special abilities and its stats. Yeah, go for it.
I think the coolest thing for me was the size of the playing area. Do you want to discuss that for us, Ben?
Yeah, so being a skirmish game, it's based around a minimum of a 24 by 30 inch board, because you don't need a large scale tabletop to play skirmish games. It's something nice you can play on a tabletop. Again, because I've created it where you can go as large as you want, and also thinking future planning for obviously for the bigger tabletop skirmish games I've got in mind for Celestial. Start off at 24 by 30 and then build us up from there. If you want to build a bigger board and go for bigger armies against one another, you can do it. The flexibility is there to do so.
That's awesome. I mean, I like the idea of it scaling up as well, but I was just blown away at the fact that, you can, like you say, play on a coffee table if you wanted to. It doesn't take a massive amount of room to be able to set up and play.
No, it's
which also means
skirmish games are designed to be small. They're designed to be quick. I'd say quick. I mean, we play testing 40 minutes to an hour to play a game. Just depends on your tactics and a bit of luck.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think a lot of people get dragged down by games being, 50, 100 models per side, whatever. It's, whereas actually skirmish games fill that gap for if you want a quick game. If you haven't got that much space at home, you can still play skirmish games. It ticks a lot of boxes. So definitely, jump on board if you can, because as I say, you won't be disappointed in the miniatures, but also you'll be able to get those games in quick or easily if you're not much space.
Yeah, I mean, you can play back of the car or on a train.
Exactly.
It depends on
exactly.
how you want to play.
Apparently, Kilroyd has already started picking up gaming mats and scenery for Celestial Affinity.
Nice.
Once it's fulfilled, so that'll be awesome. I mean, it's
so
worth
keep an eye out. But sorry to interrupt. Keep an eye out as well. I'm currently working on a battle map for Celestial, so I'll be teasing some information about that over the next few weeks and months.
That's brilliant. But I suppose the other thing as well is that guys who are backing it, such as yourself, Kilroyd, is if you found places that you can source things in the right scale, let's say trees or whatever, you could share that information through your social media accounts. That's the joy of social media. Just make sure you're tagging, Celestial Affinity and 𝗟𝗲𝗏 Studios, because it might be something that the community would really benefit from. Do you know what I mean? And that's the cool thing about it being a community-based thing. So.
Yeah, again, as I said earlier, one of the more important things for me is building that community, building that group of people who love this particular IP, love what I'm doing, but also just love what we do. And the whole joy of this is sharing that joy and that love. And if people are, like you say, finding 54mm scale already out there and they want to use that in conjunction with my game, share it, tell us about it. We'd love to see it. And that goes for everything with this. It's all about the community.
Would you ever consider partnering with, say, a 3D printing firm, say My Mini Factory, who I might have connections with, to possibly maybe, if you can't, because it's a big investment trying to get, like the tower, for instance, you did with the resin. It's a big investment for you to get that up and running and cast. Would it be something you might consider in the future for one of your games, where you might make 3D, even if it's just base adornments, because you do your base sets, your sculpted base sets. Is it anything you might consider, little base toppers or basing details, skulls, all that kind of stuff that you might want to, consider, like the 3D printing side? Because obviously, for us, Mantic Games has just moved out their plan to do the Vault, which sees their resin miniatures being available both for those who want to buy a physical resin miniature, but also as a subscription service.
Yep.
And obviously, there's a load of guys out there who use subscription services. So I just wonder what your thoughts were on that for your products.
Yeah, I mean, at heart, I'm a miniatures company, so it's the USP where I want you to buy the resin miniatures or whatever materials that come out in the future. At the end of the day, it's also a business. This is a business I'm running, so I'm always open to discussions. Obviously, there's no guarantees when it comes down to business who you deal with or how you move forward. But I'm always open to meeting new businesses, talking to new people, seeing what we can do together. That's how you grow.
It is. 3D
printing has its place. I think, like everything, it goes in a circular motion. Things come out of fashion, come into fashion. I love the resin cast process. It creates a much stronger miniature for detail for me personally. Obviously, that's a whole debate in itself. But yeah, I'm always open to conversations when it comes to business. You never know what can come from it.
Absolutely. I'm trying to see if there's any more questions to ask you, Ben.
Like I said, I've said to you in chatting to you over the past few days, I said I'll be back in the starter set for the box for the rules and everything.
Thank you.
Because I say I want to get the rules, get it read down, and hopefully wait for the fact to come out, because I want the vampires. I want the vampires. I need. I'll rephrase that. I need the vampires.
See, that's what I love. Need supersedes everything. That's what I love to hear.
We need everyone to go back it and keep backing it. If you've already backed it, back it again, because I need vampires.
The Kickstarter will make things happen at the end of the day. The more people back it, the more people get invested in it. Obviously, heartfelt thanks from me for anyone who's done that or thinking of doing it. It really helps grow it. So we're currently at just, I think we're at 5,300 at the moment, Kickstarter, which is amazing. If we can tip it $6,000 and above, that's when I can start to release the barrack to you. If we go higher and higher, that's when I can start to consider bringing out the demon mages and things like that. So things happen through community support. You support it, I can make something happen sooner rather than later. Yeah, so thank you.
No, pleasure. It's there.
So just a weird question, not for you guys, but just to answer a question that's just popped up randomly towards us. Have we ever played Black Seas by Warlord Games? In short, yes. I played it a lot because I was the HQ store manager for Warlord Games for a long time. But the game that we currently play, which is the Armada by Mantic Games, it's set in their Kings of War realm, and actually the rule set started off life as Black Seas. It was given to them by Warlord Games so that they could turn it into a fantasy naval game. So you've got all the fantasy races, you can have sorcerers casting spells from the boats and all that kind of stuff. So if you're a fan of, say, Man of War, that sort of stuff, it's got all those feels in there. But yes, we have played Black Seas. Well, I've personally played Black Seas, but on a technicality, both myself and Scott have played Black Seas because it's the base rule set. So yeah. And on the theme of people asking us questions, Ben, have you got any questions for us?
Well, I think you already mentioned a few answers to questions I had in my head. What races are your favourite? What do you want to see in terms of my world? What are you most looking forward to? Is there anything you have in mind where you think, you know what, I'd really love to see that?
So do you want to answer first, Scott, or shall I? Oh, I think Scott's. Yeah, well, if I answer very quickly for myself, if I don't know if you can hear me.
I'm back.
You're back.
You're back now, yes. But if I answer very quickly for me, I want to see a big hulking werewolf monster. So you've got your werewolves, which are already, lovely, beautiful, but like one that's like super werewolf, like huge monstrous thing.
There is a king of the
maybe
store
being held
people.
back.
There's a king of the store people who is, as you'd imagine, a superhuman alpha when it comes to that deal, which may come true sooner rather than later.
Oh, that's awesome! Yeah, I'd love to see that. Definitely. What about you, Scott?
So just say that again? Because I say you glitched out a bit, and I don't want to jump the question.
It's just basically we were asked, what do we want to see come into the world that Ben's creating? What sort of things are we excited for seeing come into fruition? We know you love your vampires. But is there a particular type thing that you want to see?
Yeah. Do you know what? I've got a soft spot for like down this is also something I wanted to say as well. When I played D&D, my character was a dragonborn monk, and his name was Cerberus.
Nice combo.
So I would like to see some dragonborn lizard man kind of creature.
That's probably more suited more towards mortals, but yeah, we can. I'm sure we can tickle that fancy for you.
But on the form of Cerberus, might we see a three-headed demonic sort of creature in the future?
Without telling you too much at the moment, in mortals, you've already seen the goddess Athena, who's the goddess of balance.
Yeah.
I've created a whole pantheon of my own gods, and I'll start to be releasing those over the next few years. So keep your eyes peeled, because there's all sorts of designs coming out for those, and all sorts of gods and goddesses that you probably won't have seen before.
Awesome.
So that was
anything else?
Something else I was going to say. The name of the studios was taken from said mythical creature.
Yeah, the obviously the three-headed dog guarding the gates of Hades. Yeah, that was the inspiration behind it. But with my logo, I wanted to do something a bit different, because obviously Cerberus is very well known. It's a word and a name that's been used for many different companies.
Yeah.
So when I created my logo with an amazing artist, I wanted to create something that was based along the theme of three-headed, but I created the three-headed female with the masks, different masks, to make it a bit different.
Yeah.
Benjamin asks, is there a possibility for there to be a larger miniature than the Emperor?
At the moment, nothing larger than the Emperor. However, there are plans for miniatures on a par with him and slightly smaller. At the end of the day, Emperor Aronoth is the Emperor, so there's nobody bigger than him as such. But you will be seeing in the lore as I release it, I've actually created a demonic sea-dwelling demon, because it's not just the land that's being attacked, but the air and the sea as well. So yeah, I've actually teased that demonic sea demon on my Instagram about a year ago. Some of you may have seen it.
Yeah.
The Sorrow Wrath, I've called it. So he's pretty sizable, but in terms of gameplay and miniature based, I think the cost would be so astronomical for you guys to want to invest in it. It might be out of the question at the moment.
Yeah. So the awkward silence goes as I wait to see if Scott's had anything to say before I butt in again. But anything, Scott?
No, I think we've covered all the questions, and the questions that have been floating around certain forums and whatnot. So I think I'm all covered on my bases. It's just general picking and getting the bits we want now.
Yeah. So I'm pretty much I just want to keep saying to the guys who have watched and are watching, whether that be live or when we upload this to our YouTube channel, do check out the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Please do back. This is a community project. Ben is all about building a community based around this amazing game and his other content, but he's very much the sort of person that you meet at a show and you fall in love with him because he just is passionate and he's so enthusiastic about not just his product, but wargaming in general, and seeing your enthusiasm. It's really great to see, because sometimes you walk up to guys who are selling at these sort of shows and they are a bit flat. They've done it every weekend forever. Ben never is. Ben is, you know, so passionate. So honestly, do support him. It's really fantastic to see. And when the shows, when the shows kick up again for him, you know, do take the time to go and say hello, because he will appreciate it. I know he will.
Yeah, 100%. Love to chat. Love to talk about my law. And as I say, send your questions in. Comment on my social media channels. Ask questions, give me your thoughts, share your painted miniatures as well. That's one thing I always say to everyone who collects my miniatures. Doesn't matter what level of paint you are, I want to see it. You know, I have my imagination. You've seen the box art, especially on Mortals. You know what the paint schemes I've got in mind and the colours. But the beauty of this hobby is you all have your own imaginations. I want to see it. Share it.
That's going to say, have you ever thought about doing like a monthly or a quarterly competition where people send in their pictures of your painted models, and then it gets judged and you pick a top 3?
I'm happy to do that, very much so. If enough people want to get involved with it, then 100%. 100%.
Because you could almost have a little gallery, couldn't you? Like an Instagram gallery, you know, you could, you know.
There's all sorts of things we can do. Yeah, I mean, it's showcasing the joy of the hobby. So yeah,
absolutely.
So many different options with that very game for that. If enough people want to be involved, because I know we all have a lot of miniatures we all have to paint on our schedule, or our room of shame, or our cupboard of shame, or whatever. We're not true hobbyists unless we've got piles of grey plastic. But yeah, if you put it to the top of the pile and paint it, and if you do it, 100%.
I prefer to think of it as the pile of potential other than the pile of shame. So yeah, pile of potential.
Yeah. Possibilities. That's always best.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, no, I mean, the main thing to say is that we're just really grateful you took the time out today and chatted with us, really. And you know, anything we can do to support, you know, just drop us a message and stuff, because we're passionate about your miniatures and your systems too. So, you know, do let us know. And as I say, if people are watching, do pop over, have a look on Ben's Cerberus Studios Instagram account. There's some beautiful things to see on there. Drop him some love and some likes and stuff, and check out that Kickstarter. For me, I'm pretty much questioned out. I've had all the answers I need. Werewolves, and werewolves. So that's all cool for me. And I know Scott's pretty much the same. Vampires and vampires and vampires. So yeah, it's all good for us. It's all good. But the main thing is that we've got some more information out there for those who have listened in tonight, and we know that TGD is a thing now, and your Cerberus army is growing, and we're expecting that update from Lady Kane at any point with a selfie with my brother at Games Workshop, Warhammer World or something. Yeah, that'll be good. So yeah,
so we've got an idea for T-shirts for next year. We can have the Cerberus sponsor with the Total World Domination written underneath.
Sounds like a plan.
That's your T-shirts. Have your logo on the front, and then on the back just have World Domination.
But why stop at T-shirts? We can go A-boards, full-on A-boards, walking A-boards.
Red says, humankind for him. Aronoth needs more minions.
Oh, there's plenty to come. Well, I've got all sorts of wonderful beasts to come out for the demons.
We look forward to seeing them. As I say, that's how I fell in love first, seeing those demons. I was just like, these are awesome. And then I was convinced demons all the way, and then I saw Transitioning Werewolves, and that was it. I changed allegiance. I changed allegiance on that day.
It'd be very interesting to see how you guys, if you stick to your allegiances, or the more things that come out and the more story that comes out, if your allegiances wander a little bit. That's the more really interesting part for me.
Well, the truth is I don't tend to stop at one sort of allegiance. So the chances are I'll have warbands of different. Yeah, well, yeah, I'll have everything. Let's face it, I'll have everything. So yeah.
Dave he can't say no. He'll start with one, and then 2 weeks later he's got every faction going for that said game. So
yeah, that's usually the way.
That's great. Keep going.
Yeah. But you know,
so another thing is just one.
I was just going to say very quickly. Yeah, I was just going to say very quickly for me. Obviously, you've talked about doing whether it be intro club nights or whatever. Likewise, if you want to show us through it and you want us to help you do anything like that, you can always ask. As I say, we are quite local. We've got experience demo gaming and stuff, so let us know. We'll have a chat. Like I say, we'll have a chat after this, and and get something sorted. But just know you've got our full support.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll get that sorted, definitely.
Yeah, that's just. And Dave said what I was saying. I was going to say, because obviously part of Iron School is demo teams. We're not just set on doing Mantic stuff, although it's what we're focused on at the minute. If you do want help with the game platform, we're more than happy for you to come over, learn the game, and then help spread it for you.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll be having chats and we'll say, set the world on fire, total global domination. Here we come.
Yeah, that's it, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys are all happy with that,
it's in the Midlands.
yeah, that's it. Total global domination started in the Midlands. What I was going to say was, if you're all happy with everything that we've talked about, and like I say, I appreciate your time, Ben, but if you do need to shoot off, we do understand. I have assembled my miniatures. You'll probably see in the background. It's the 𝗲𝗍𝗆 for Night Stalkers. But that's me done. So if everyone's happy, we can round this up so everyone gets time to do a bit of follow-up, and the guys before their bedtime that have watched this get a chance to jump on their tablets, their phones, their PCs, whatever, and view the shinies as well.
Yeah, and if I could just say, the Kickstarter's got 10 more days to run. Then it finishes on the 22nd of June. If you have seen it or haven't seen it yet, it's looking for completion to deliver everything to you December. However, I am aiming to get everything to you a lot sooner than that. Just depends how many of you jump on board. But yeah, your support is very welcomed, and I thank you all very much for those who are already pledged. For those who are considering it, I thank you very much.
That's awesome. And truthfully, do check it out, guys. Let's have a big push towards these last 10 days. Let's make Scott's dreams come true with those shiny vampires.
I look forward to the cosplay next year.
Yeah, that's it. And obviously, interrogation room number 2, Scott has said he's going to wear a cowl, and we're going to provide the guest with an electro pulse thing on their finger. So if they answer it wrong, they'll get electrocuted. But yeah, so thank you very much, Ben, for your time. It's been absolutely fantastic. If you would like to pop on ever again and chat about what you're doing, feel free to drop us a message. We'd love to have you back on with us. Keep watching out on our socials as we share more from Ben, because 𝗟𝗏𝗄 Studios has possibly the best miniatures out there, both quality of cast and literally design. So definitely check out their Kickstarter and their Instagram page. Thank you, Scott, as always. It's been great. We'll catch up in a chat on Messenger or whatever shortly, guys. But if everyone's happy, I'll say night to everyone, and thank you for joining us. And if you have checked it out afterwards on YouTube, then if there's still time, jump on that Kickstarter. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ben, for being the first victim of the interrogation room.
Absolute pleasure. Great to chat to you all. Thank you very much. Thank you for those who tuned in.
Thank you, guys.
Yes,
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good night.
And you guys.
Night.
Bye.
Bye.